Hi, my name is Stevie and I like to write songs. We've got a lot of mixing and final steps to do before these songs are completely finished and ready for release. Let's get down to it and do as much as we can today. Let's go. It can be a bit frustrating sometimes if, like me, as a songwriter, all you want to do is write songs, but there's so many other tasks that get in the way all the time, like mixing and finalizing tracks, mastering them, and especially releasing them and promoting them and stuff like that. It would be great for me if I could pass all that stuff off to someone else and I could just songwrite 100% in the studio. But unfortunately, because this is just a hobby for me, then I can't afford to pay anybody else to be involved in this. So it's left up to me to do everything, which means taking a holiday from songwriting and going through this stage. I've decided that I'm going to release all the songs independently on DistroKid. I've never done anything like this before, so hopefully I'll learn a lot of things about it along the way, and I'll let you guys follow along with my progress and what I learn about it. So let's get down to a bit of mixing. Right, so I've listened to the track the whole way through, and one of the things that I did notice is up here somewhere, there's a bit of clumsy hi-hat. Now, I don't know how I let that pass, but the dynamics are far too hot on the hi-hat there. The hi-hat's really poking out far too much. So because I've stemmed out the tracks, I have no choice but to go back to the original project and re-render out the overheads so that I can get the hi-hats back to the right level. So I've gone back into the original project and I've edited down the hi-hats in that section and I've exported it out into this project. Let's hear the original hi-hats. And the new version. It's not very audible outside of the mix, but the new hi-hats are a lot quieter. Yeah, the hi-hat's tucked in just a little bit. So that was the first thing. The second thing was this guitar. This guitar always comes across as very dry sounding whenever I hear it on the track. There is a bit of delay on it, but it's sort of buried in the mix. And I think it's especially noticeable when we get into the palm muting section. I just think that guitar for some reason just sits out as very dry in the mix. So I thought I'd add more delay to the track. Let's do my default of hitch delay. Now I was thinking, let's hear what that sounds like just as it stands. Okay, so we need to set the mix. Let's go for about 50%. Right, and I only want a single delay. Right, I wonder, should we go something a bit slower? Let's try a half. that's a bit messed up sounding, and so let's try and filter the delay a wee bit so that it doesn't interfere as much with the original track. Yep. Let's hear that in the track. Also had an idea on listening to the finished track again back that maybe this guitar part we could make the delay ping pong. That's far more interesting sounding. Let's have a quick listen to the climactic end chorus and see, does it have the right sound overall for what we want for this track? Yeah, I would say I'm quite happy with that song. So let's move on to the next one. Right, the first thing jumps out of this one is this snare compression that we've been adding to most of the tracks. I'm not mad about it on this song because if we solo the drums, you can hear that it does a funny thing to the ghost notes on the snare. We turn it off. In my mind, it just makes the ghost notes sound a wee bit more natural. It's a subtle thing, but it's all about subtlety at this stage. Right, while listening to that, I turned the guitar solo down 1 dB. I also think it would be nice to add some extra detailed delay throws at certain parts of the song, just to bring out some of the sustained notes. So let's do that. I've got a little delay unit here, Chris Lord-Alge from Waves, and we've routed the guitar solo into it. So let's find the places where I think the delay should be. Okay, so I think that whole little volume swelling part. Let's hear that now. So let's find all the other places where I think it should be. So I put it here as the guitar reaches its highest note. It's nice the way that sustained note overlaps over the top of the next part of the guitar. And the same thing when it happens again in the song. And then at the end of the song, when we get back to these guitar swells on the volume control. Okay, so that's it. These are the only things I can really find to do to these songs to finalise them, because I think the static mix is very strong in them, in my opinion anyway. So this one was my experiment into Celtic rock. And one of the main comments that I was getting about the mix on this is these acoustic instruments, that maybe we should try and bring these out in the mix a bit. So let's do that. Let's see if we can pull out some of these instruments a wee bit more in the mix. You hear that? Yeah, I definitely think that bottom end on the guitars is making the whole thing sound a bit heavy and distorted, and it maybe isn't the right thing, so I've taken that out. I'm also feeling that after the instrumental finishes, maybe the vocals aren't coming in loud enough.
I'll be stone
Whoa, what happened there? Oh, there's something weird going on with this song. That's not right. Right, I've kind of noticed an anomaly here. I think maybe the instruments are hitting the God particle too loud, because we've got this weird thing where the guitar is sustaining at the end of this. And it's having a shit compressed out of it. Now, if I turn off the God particle for a second. Oh, that's really... Oh, I know what it is. Right, I got confused there. I think I've worked out what it is. I think Rezo's doing it. Rezo's finding it just there. Aha! There we go. Problem solved. So it wasn't a God particle at all. Sorry, God particle. Right, there's a lot of tom activity in this song, and I'm wondering if maybe the standard EQ that I'm using is the right thing for this song. Maybe we need to clean out the toms a bit. So I'm going to do some references here. I don't really want to let YouTube hear these references, so I'm going to just do it offline and see if I can make any decisions about the EQ of the track. That's where all the problem is there.
Drinking and smoking, drinking and thinking, drinking and fighting, drinking and singing, drinking and drinking. The stale smell of stout. I'm late for work and the wife is drinking and talking, drinking and joking, drinking and dancing, drinking and smoking, drinking and thinking, singing.
Let's take some of the bottom end, or maybe boost some of the top end on the toms so that we don't have as much of a problem here. Yeah. Nice. It actually makes the toms come out louder in the track.
Drinking and talking, drinking and joking, drinking and dancing, drinking and smoking, drinking and thinking, drinking and fighting.
Maybe we could back to the master EQ and undo that move that we did on the master EQ.
Drinking and talking, drinking and
Nice.
joking, drinking and dancing, drinking and smoking, drinking and thinking, drinking and fighting, drinking and singing, drinking and drinking. Drinking and joking. Wake up in the aftermath. The
Okay, really happy. One of the things I'm noticing is I think maybe I overdid it with the scoops in the fiddle in this section. I think I'm going to maybe try and ride those scoops down in volume a bit. So I've opened up a volume track. So here, this little section at the start of each phrase, you can see how loud they are compared to the rest of the track.
One for the road.
Okay, that's a lot better. I can't think of anything else on this song for now, so let's move on to another song. Okay, can't think of anything to do to that song. So let's move on. I think these have maybe a bit too much bottom end on them. They only come in the same point. Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's it. Right, let's do maybe about here. Let's have a volume change. Right, so what if we now make this point linear? So in case you didn't understand what I was doing there, I've got a volume envelope for the master output, and that's affecting how hard we're hitting the God particle and all that stuff that's on the 2-bus output. I've set up just a basic fade in at the intro here. I'm wondering about the delay throw, because I think the delay throw doesn't match the mood of the song. Let's try full. No. Right, let's go with that. So that's the mixing done for these songs for now, anyway. As I already said in previous episodes, I'll be going back and having a full listening day and writing down notes of all the things that I still think are outstanding and need done. And as soon as I have a listening day where I generate no notes, that's me finished mixing. But for now, we'll call these finished and we'll render all these out so that I have them available for the mixing day. Player Project Master Mix Wave 24-bit. I watched a really good interview recently with Bill Schnee, who is a very successful mix engineer, producer, and probably best known for his work with Steely Dan. So I don't think you can get a better mix engineer than that. And he gave a really great analogy about mixing. He likened it to being a painter who goes into a house to do a job, painting the house. And you see the first wall and you go, well, that wall's been recently painted. It looks pretty clean. Let's leave well enough alone. You go into the second room and maybe the wall is in good condition, but just needs a fresh coat of paint on it. And then you go into another room, and in that room, there's holes in the wall that all need filled. The wall needs sanded down, it needs primed, and it needs painted, and it needs a lot of work. So one of the skills to being a good mixer, according to Bill, is knowing when you have to do some work to something and knowing when you should leave it alone. And so today, quite often, I decided to leave it alone. But I suppose there's two different types of mix engineers. There's ones like myself who primarily deal with mixing my own material, stuff that I've recorded myself. So as I was recording, I've been doing a little bit of mixing and making decisions and baking stuff in and recording it, in my opinion, just the way I like it. So when it comes to the final mixdown, there's not as much work to do. But then there's the other type of mix engineer who's primarily mixing things that were recorded by other people, other bands, other engineers, and so on. And maybe you don't like the way the overheads were recorded on the drums, or maybe you don't like the choice of mic on the guitar cab, and all these remedial things are things that'll take up a lot of your time. It's not so much the case with me, because typically I'm working at a starting point where I'm already quite happy with stuff. But I think in both cases, the important thing to bear in mind is that mixing is primarily a remedial thing. It's solving problems. So if there are no problems there to solve, then leave it alone. You'll see so many YouTube videos saying, always do this in a mix, always do that in a mix. I don't agree with that. I think the only thing you should always do is try and make your mix sound as good as it can be. And if it's already good, then you've very little work to do. Don't automatically compress something just because you always compress something. Don't automatically EQ something just because you automatically always do. Instead, pull up an EQ if there's a problem to solve. Pull up a compressor if there's a problem to solve. If there's no problems to solve, then your work is done. Okay, guys, I hope you found that interesting today. Really looking forward to getting to the phase where we're going to get these songs out and be able to check them out on Spotify and iTunes and all that stuff. It'll be interesting and exciting to finally get these tracks released. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really, really appreciate it, and keep the comments coming because I learned so much from you guys. Thank you so much. You guys rock.